Hi everybody, my name is Phil here. I do building inspections for asbestos. What I'm going to be doing during this inspection, I'm going to show you what's normally tested. During an inspection, what we test for, we would test stucco. We would take 3 samples of stucco. Also, we would look under the vinyl siding, looking for maybe some more different stuccos or asbestos board, like cement transite board. We'd be taking the window samples, especially the wood putty. We'd take 3 different wood putties, an average of 3, unless changes. If it's wood, we'll take 3. If it's metal, we'll take 3 also. What we do is we would sample the roof. We would sample all 3 layers of the roof, 3 or 4 layers, depending how many layers. The tar paper. When we also sample the stucco, we would sample right to the wood, to the tar paper layer. So during the inspection, we would be damaging somewhere 3 different corners, I would imagine, right to the wood. Even around these chimneys, sometimes there's a black mastic. We would test for the mastic to see if it's containing asbestos. As you can see, there's some caulking around. We'd be sampling the caulking to see if there's any asbestos material in the caulking. A lot of times we also sample the cement on the chimney in the mortar. I'll walk around the property so you see a better angle of the house. This is probably 1950s, 60, early. Most of these type of materials will probably be a plaster, a drywall plaster material, or a laughing plaster. So we're walking around the side. So these are the windows. These have window putty that will be covered by screen. That will be window putty. I'm going to take 3 samples of window putty, 3 separate windows. So as we walk around the back, to the back of the home. So we check the vinyl siding in 3 different locations or 4 different locations to make sure there's no asbestos materials behind the vinyl siding. So what we would do is also we would test the garage. We would test the roof. If there's 2 layers, we test all 2 layers. We would take window putty also, again, separate from the house. We would take, well, it looks like there's only 2 windows here. We take 1 of each window. We would take 3 stucco samples. Generally looks the same, fairly same looking material, but we would probably still take 3 off the garage. A lot of times the material might be different, could have been built different time periods. So this is the outside stuff we're checking for. When someone does an asbestos inspection, especially in the city of Vancouver, we would be looking for these materials. Gives you an idea of what we're doing on the outside. I'll show you a video of the inside after and show you the materials that we're testing, what to expect during our inspection. I'll talk to you later. Thank you. Okay, the materials in the garage that we're looking for, we've been looking for drywall, any oils, hazardous materials. This garage inside has nothing except there's ballasts. That's an older ballast, could contain PCBs. These are the newer ones. These probably will not. We'll still make a note of these. 3 potential PCB containing ballasts. This garage is relatively clean. They probably used it for a little band area. It's pretty clean. We're looking for oils. Could be full of oil. Not really sure what that's for, but we'll take a better look later. These are some of the materials we're looking for: drywall, hazardous materials, paint cans, asbestos boarding inside here. Sometimes there's old stoves in here, old chimneys. You know, this is a standard garage. That's about all we can look at this one. It's pretty basic. I'll give you a shot of the house after. Okay, we're in a basement now of this home. During my inspection of the basement, what I'm going to be looking for, what I might do is, we can see bits of flooring. A little bit hard to see, lights aren't working properly here. We've checked shelves to make sure there's no vinyl flooring on the shelves. This white tape here would be asbestos. We won't sample it because we know it's 100% asbestos. More flooring. Hard to see, but there's more flooring. We look under the stairs, see if there's any flooring. And what we do is we see a tabletop here. It's got a vinyl floor. This would be an asbestos product. I know, judging by removing that material before, we know it's asbestos. We see the same floor here. It goes also under there in a few closet areas. So we'll take one sample of that floor. Here's the duct tape. We look at the hot water tank. We know it's a new hot water tank. It's probably like about 5 years old at most. No asbestos issues. As you can see, ducting, full asbestos wrap. So we know that guaranteed has asbestos. We look in the wall. A little bit hard to see, but that wall is actually covered with asbestos paper. They put asbestos heat paper on that wall for some reason, probably for fireproofing. So now we're looking at here. We got countertop, we got floors, we got duct tape, and also it goes in the wood. See how it goes in the wood? They had lots of time on their hands back then to put it everywhere. Okay, so we're going to go from that room. We're going to automatically see floor tiles here. These are an asbestos product. It actually has a black and a red. We'll be checking the floor. This is actually a cool tile. I've never seen these tiles before. They've got little horses on them, bucking horses. So what we'll do is we'll be testing this floor. We're taking one sample of the floor and mastic. We'll be looking at the ceiling tiles, determining if it's a fiberboard or if we think it's an asbestos product. We'll probably test it. We'll check around the chimney. We don't see no inserts, nothing like that. We're checking the wall for insulation, but through my experience, the walls downstairs usually would be a fiberglass or no material at all. Cold storage room under the front stairs, no floors, basic, nothing to test. So floor tiles run in this room also. As you can see, it's the same material. We'll probably take maybe 2 or 3 samples just because there's different color variations. We know it's going to be asbestos, but we'll still take them anyways. So we'll walk around the bar area. Sorry for the poor lighting. Can't seem to get none of these switches working. Same floor material, probably goes under the bar itself. We'd walk from this room to a bedroom, which has got a laminate floor. We'd pull the floor up. If there's a vinyl floor or floor tiles or any material that we think is asbestos, we will test it. If the floor tile is the same as the other rooms, we'll make a note it runs to the bedroom. Also, you can see this has got wrapped here, hard to see. It's wrapped again. Ducts. We count all of the heat. Smoke alarms, we'd test them all. Check them to make sure, to see how old they are and stuff. This is the, can't get into this part. This is where the breaker box is. We'll take a better look. Sorry for the lighting. So we look around the breaker box to see if there's any asbestos shielding, see how old the breakers are, to see if there's any suspect. Cement board in the breaker. If we suspect it's a problem, we'll make a note for the report. Okay, we'll go upstairs. It'll be a little bit brighter. Sorry about the poor lighting. On the stairs itself here, if you can see, there is a vinyl. That's got a black backing. Most likely doesn't contain, we don't know about the mastics, but we still sample it separately. So we'll take one sample of this. At least a couple, 2 to 3 samples of this other flooring material with the mastics. Plus, there's a few other things there. There's also a floor tile here. Runs to the hallway. So we'll be sampling one there. We'd be sampling this washroom. There could be also more than one layer. Could be 2 or 3 layers, hard to say. Then what we do is, see this is the register. Those registers are lined with asbestos right around. As we're looking up the ceiling, we see a texture, sprayed on texture. That will definitely be tested. We take 3 samples of that texture. If that texture changes to a different texture, we take 3 more. For this type of square footages, 3 will be plenty. Look under the carpets. Look at this fire log material. Sometimes that might test it, could be asbestos. Sometimes use asbestos materials in those fake logs. The material here is a plaster. Let me take a better look. It looks like it might, just judging by the way it's cracking, it could be laughing plaster, not sure. We'll know later, we'll make a hole later. We'll take probably about five or six samples of the plaster. And if this plaster returns just to drywall, we will take 3 additional at least, depending on the square footage. Also, we've got a floor in the kitchen. It could be more than 1 layer. What we'll do is get a chisel down to the subfloor, determine how many layers of floor. We test every layer. Other materials I can see there. We look at the countertops, we look inside the cupboards, look at the sinks. Sometimes we'll test underneath the sink depending on what kind of material we think it is. I'll usually check all the cupboards here. A lot of times when they did the kitchen floor, they always put pieces of strips. So a lot of times there's strips of material. So we'll walk into the bedroom now. This is a 2-bedroom house, probably around about 900 square feet or so. We'll look under this carpet. No texture in the ceiling, so we would leave the ceiling for itself. We look in the closets, try to see if there's any material that's laying around on the shelves. Open another one, see? Right there, got a piece of vinyl. We don't know if it's asbestos, so we'll have to test it. I mean, it could be totally brand new, but sometimes you have to do a test just to prove it. I'll flip the switch on, got a little bit light. We'll look under the carpets here. Same routine. If this material is all lath plaster or drywall plaster or drywall, we'll take a minimum of 3, but I take about 5 from this area. Just because the more is always better, especially if there's any changes that we can't particularly see. Check the closet out. No real difference there. It's another heat register. This will be lined with asbestos. What we do now, we look for the attic hatch space. Most likely it's probably in a closet. Yeah, right there. There's our hatch. So we'll move the shelving a bit. We'll put a ladder up there. We'll check the material out. Determine if it's fiberglass or if it's asbestos. We'll be looking for cellulose. Cellulose is usually negative, but sometimes there's a cellulose material that is gray, like duct tape. If you see that material, it's most likely asbestos. So you have to be very cautious. We look at the fireplace, determine if we have to take any samples off some of that grout there. But this is a basic walkthrough. We also, since it's a demolition, we'll make a hole in the wall, check the exterior insulation. That's very important. Sometimes you don't see asbestos in the attic, but it could be in the wall, vice versa, right? So we'll just basically walk around the property, determine how many samples, what materials, and this is a pretty uniform house. I don't see any raised subfloors. It's probably one type of material, it could be more than 1 layer. Pretty basic 1950s, 60s style home. But like you say, we have to check all the subfloors right down to the substrate, original plywood. So that's a basic inspection, what we're looking for. You gotta remember we're causing damage, especially being a demolition. We're making holes in the wall, we're going in the attic, we're making holes in the middle of the floor, we're cutting holes. Sometimes we're taking multiple layers of subfloor, we're chiseling out multiple layers, and we're testing every layer. Because the top layer could be brand new, 2 layers down, or the mid layer could be asbestos, the bottom layer could be negative. So we don't know that until we start testing the material. So be prepared, especially in Vancouver. There's a lot of recycling. Any house is 1940 or older, it's got to be recycled. So there's a lot of materials we have to look at and take some more. Same with the shower. We might want to take a shower route. You know, it depends what material is there. It looks more like an arborite material in this one. So the key thing is, if this room had, say, a different texture, we'd be taking 3 off that room. And since there's 3 rooms the same texture, we're taking 1 in each room. But if the square footage was like over 1,000 square feet, we'd be taking more, maybe 5, right? And so on and so on. Like the flooring materials, usually they come like miscellaneous materials where we're only taking 1. Well, since there's different patterns and colors, we'll probably take more, 1 of each. So ideally this floor, like I say, I can't tell how old it is, but there's a good possibility this was an asbestos floor. We know the downstairs ones are asbestos for sure because I removed many of those floors. And this final floor, I've seen this before, containing also funky looking multiple colored. This is probably about a 40 to 50% asbestos material. There's still a lot of areas I might not get every item in this video, but I'm definitely showing you what to expect. If you're buying a home and you want to build a home and you need an inspector to come in here and inspect for asbestos materials, well, this is what we do. We go through your house, we look for asbestos, what's regulated, what has to be tested, mandatory testing, and when we test everything, we put it in a sandwich bag. I'll show you, see if I can show you an example. Yeah, I'll show you an example of some of the outside material. See, they're thrown in a Ziploc bag with a sandwich bag, separately and labeled. This shows you what the materials we're testing, sent to a certified laboratory, and when we get our results back, we write a report based on our findings. Usually our findings are asbestos related. If we find underground tanks, we'll make a note of it. Any PCBs, any mercury switches, all the other hazards. Lead paint is an issue. It's another kind of thing we have to look at too. But we're talking strictly asbestos right now. This is an asbestos inspection. This is what we're showing you. All the best. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.